In the shadowed heart of West Virginia, nestled between the rolling Appalachians and the whispering expanse of the Ohio River, lies the small town of Point Pleasant, a place time seemed to have forgotten, but where fate had etched a terrifying prophecy. Under the cloak of night, a specter emerged from the seams of darkness, its presence as foreboding as the unfathomable depths of the nearby woods. They called it the Mothman, a creature of lore, with eyes that glowed like hellfire and wings that whispered death in their wake. Its sightings were no longer mere whispers among the superstitious, they had become harbingers of doom, foretelling disaster with an uncanny precision that turned even the most skeptical minds towards dread. In the spirit of Victor Lavelle, a chronicler of the unseen horrors that lurk within the human soul and the shadows of society, the tale of the Mothman's prophecy is not just one of supernatural terror. It is a mirror reflecting the fissures of a community plagued by more than just sightings of an otherworldly entity. Point Pleasant becomes a battleground where the collective fears of the unknown, the grief of loss, and the scars of history's injustices converge, manifesting a horror that is as much societal as it is spectral. The narrative begins with the return of an estranged son to Point Pleasant, drawn back by the mysterious death of his father, a once devout skeptic of the Mothman legend. Amidst the backdrop of his personal quest for answers, the town's uneasy calm is shattered by a new wave of sightings, each more ominous than the last, culminating in a chilling prophecy of an impending catastrophe. As the protagonist delves deeper into the mystery, the lines between reality and myth blur, revealing that the true horror may not lie in the menacing figure of the Mothman, but in the darkness of the human heart and the societal ills that feed it. Lavelle's narrative weaves a rich tapestry of horror and social commentary, exploring themes of alienation, the legacy of trauma, and the indomitable spirit of a community standing at the precipice of the unknown. Through the lens of the Mothman's prophecy, he invites us to confront the real monsters lurking in the shadows of fear, prejudice, and ignorance, challenging us to question not just the nature of the horror that haunts Point Pleasant, but the very essence of what it means to be human in the face of the inexplicable. As the weeks wore on, Point Pleasant found itself ensnared in a grip of terror and fascination that reached beyond its borders, drawing the curious and the brave from corners far and wide. The protagonist, Alex, found himself at the heart of this maelstrom, his personal quest for answers about his father's death intertwining with the town's struggle against the unseen forces at play. The Mothman's sightings grew more frequent, its crimson gaze piercing through the fog of night with ominous intent. Each appearance was closely followed by calamity, unexplained disappearances, bizarre accidents, and a palpable sense of dread that hung over the town like a shroud. Victor Lavalle's narrative style intensified the sense of unease, weaving together the personal with the communal. Alex's investigation led him to uncover a series of journals belonging to his father, filled with decades of research on the Mothman, cryptic drawings, and dire warnings that seemed to suggest a connection between the creature and the town's darkest secrets. His father had believed that the Mothman was not just a harbinger of disaster but a manifestation of the town's collective guilt and unresolved traumas, legacies of environmental destruction, economic collapse, and deep-seated prejudices that had festered in the shadows of Point Pleasant for generations. The more Alex delved into the mystery, the more he realized that the Mothman's prophecy was not merely about foretelling disasters. It was a call to confront the horrors that lay buried in the town's past and present. The creature's presence had forced the community to face its own reflection, revealing the fissures and fault lines that divided it. As the town grappled with this revelation, the tension between those who sought to exploit the Mothman's legend for their own ends and those who sought to understand and perhaps heal the wounds it symbolized reached a boiling point. One night, following a tip from an anonymous source, Alex ventured into the heart of the TNT area, the abandoned munitions plant where the Mothman was first sighted decades ago. The place was a toxic relic of the town's wartime past, now a labyrinth of dilapidated structures and overgrown foliage. As he navigated through the eerie silence, the air thick with the smell of rust and decay, Alex felt the weight of eyes upon him. Suddenly, a series of strange lights appeared in the sky, casting an unnatural glow over the landscape. The ground beneath him trembled, and a chilling sound, not quite human nor animal, echoed through the air, freezing him in his tracks. It was there, amidst the ruins of Point Pleasant's forgotten sins, that Alex came face to face with the Mothman. But as he stood there, staring into the creature's fiery eyes, he understood that the Mothman was more than a portent of doom. It was a guardian of secrets, a keeper of the town's conscience, demanding that they confront the darkness within themselves before it consumed them all. The encounter marked a turning point, not just in Alex's journey, but for the whole of Point Pleasant. The town was at a crossroads, haunted by the specter of its past and the shadow of a future yet unwritten. The Mothman's prophecy had set in motion events that could no longer be ignored, forcing the town to confront the question of what it truly meant to be a community in the face of the unknown. In the heart of the TNT area, under the gaze of the Mothman, Alex faced a revelation that would forever alter the course of Point Pleasant's history. The creature, a sentinel of the town's darkest secrets, offered no words, yet its message was clear. It wasn't just a harbinger of disasters to come, it was a reflection of the town's collective soul, scarred by years of unacknowledged sins and unhealed wounds. The Mothman's prophecy was not about predicting the future, but about reconciling with the past to change the future's course. As dawn broke over the horizon, casting a pale light over the desolate landscape, Alex left the TNT area with a heavy heart, the Mothman's silhouette fading into the morning mist. The encounter had not just changed him, it had ignited a spark within the community. Word of his experience spread like wildfire, forcing the residents of Point Pleasant to confront the truth about their town and themselves. In the weeks that followed, the town came together in a way it never had before. The Mothman sightings dwindled, but its presence remained, a constant reminder of the need for vigilance and introspection. Alex spearheaded efforts to address the environmental degradation, economic disparities, and social injustices that had plagued Point Pleasant for generations, rallying the community around a shared vision for a better future. But just as it seemed the town was on the brink of a new dawn, an unexpected event thrust Point Pleasant back into the maelstrom of fear and uncertainty. On a crisp, clear night, as Alex and a group of volunteers worked to restore a section of the riverbank, a series of unexplained lights appeared in the sky, similar to those Alex had seen in the TNT area. The ground shook with a low, rumbling sound, and the air filled with a palpable sense of dread. The townsfolk gathered, eyes turned skyward, as the lights converged above the Mothman statue in the center of town, casting it in an otherworldly glow. Then, as suddenly as they had appeared, the lights vanished, leaving behind a silence that was almost deafening. In the days that followed, the town was abuzz with theories and speculations. Some saw it as a sign that the Mothman's prophecy had been fulfilled, that the town had averted disaster through unity and change. Others feared it was a warning of a new, unseen threat, a reminder that the specter of the past could never be truly vanquished. As Alex stood before the Mothman statue, reflecting on the events that had unfolded, he couldn't shake the feeling that the story was far from over. The Mothman had become more than a legend, it was a symbol of Point Pleasant's resilience and its vulnerabilities. The creature that had once been a harbinger of doom was now a guardian of their collective conscience, watching over them, waiting. The final twist came one evening when Alex received an anonymous letter, its contents cryptic yet unmistakable. It hinted at a deeper mystery, one that tied the Mothman's origins to secrets buried deeper than anyone in Point Pleasant had ever realized. As Alex read the letter over and over, a new resolve took shape within him. The journey was not yet complete, the final chapter of the Mothman's prophecy remained unwritten. And so, under the watchful eyes of a town forever changed, Alex set out once more into the unknown, the letter clutched tightly in his hand. The shadows of the Appalachian Mountains beckoning with the promise of answers and the threat of deeper mysteries lurking just beyond the veil of reality.